Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm Jim Castelaz. I'm the founder and chief technology officer at Motiv Power Systems. And it's very good to be with you this afternoon and talk with you a little bit about Motiv's electric trucks. Um, and what I want to talk with you about today specifically is our marathon, Motiv's marathon, and then the marathon that many of you might be facing as you look to electrify your commercial fleets. Um, So I want to start with a little bit of background about Motiv. I serve as Motiv's CTO and founder. I started Motiv in 2009 with the vision to free fleets from fossil fuels. Right, electrification marks a move towards energy independence because it gives you options for how you are powering your fleet. Right, electricity is the intermediary. You can use solar, you can use wind, you can use the utility. Right, and so at the end of the day, it's an important step towards energy independence. And we've been able to accompany 10 of the 15 largest fleets in North America and many other fleets shown here on that journey towards energy independence, towards electrification of their fleets, with more than 200 trucks doing productive work, moving people and goods around California and around all of North America, US and Canada. More than 3 million miles on the road and an uptime that rivals and in many cases exceeds their fossil fuel trucks. We've been doing this for a while. Sometimes I say Motiv is actually a legacy EV manufacturer because of our experience. And over 14 years, we've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't work for truck design, for truck validation, for customer deployments, for truck manufacturing. And we want to share that experience with our customers. So since we've been doing this 14 years, it really has, it's really been an interesting journey. When we started, we couldn't even get the high voltage connectors we needed for our trucks, right? And so the industry has matured a lot, but it's really still just beginning. We're really still near the beginning of this race. But over that course of time, we've really learned a lot about what to do and what not to do for medium duty electric trucks. And while we've been able to take some learnings from smaller passenger cars, the challenges for trucks are unique, right? The power levels, the torques that are required, passenger car solutions don't really work there. And the other thing that can be challenging with commercial vehicles is the uniqueness and customization needed to ensure that they're fit to mission, right? And so we spend a lot of time with our customers in the field, making sure that these electric trucks can do the work that they need to get done, because at the end of the day, the truck is just a tool to get a job done, right? And so that feedback has really proven quite valuable, and it's allowed us to iterate through 6 different generations of our electric vehicle powertrain. Right. And what we've changed and improved there has benefited our customers by providing more reliability, more electric range, lower cost. Right. Those are the 3 driving factors in building a great electric truck: range, reliability, and cost. But beyond building the truck, we also need to help fleets on using the truck, right? Because an electric truck is used a little differently than a fossil fuel truck. Instead of refueling it at gas stations or on-site fueling, it needs infrastructure, charging infrastructure installed at a depot, typically where the truck is staying overnight, maybe even en route, right? And so that's an area where we help our fleets on the journey, because oftentimes figuring out the facilities and infrastructure can be as challenging as figuring out the truck, the truck use profile. And I would say that another area that we've kind of learned and grown over our journey on electrification is flexibility, right? And I think Motiv's background doing only electric trucks has allowed us to be a lot more flexible in our approach to making sure that the vehicle fits the needs of the fleet, right? And so we're not tied down by kind of legacy designs on designing around, say, an internal combustion engine, right? And so that's allowed us to bring some pretty innovative products to market, which I'm excited to be able to show you in the next few slides. And it's also allowed us to innovate special feature functionality with customers to really optimize the vehicle for their use case. So I thought that these pictures might illustrate my point about how we've evolved our design over the last 14 years, right? And really even over the last 5 years, you can see our Gen 4 vehicle, which was perfectly capable, could do 100 miles of range and deliver, 5 tons of payload, and worked quite well for a number of customers. But you can see the complexity of cables, wiring, the number of boxes on the vehicle, right? And compare that to our latest production vehicle, which we call Gen 6, which uses lithium iron phosphate batteries, which have provided some incremental safety and supply chain benefits. And you can see how much, maybe most visibly is the lack of components, right? And the lack of cables on our Gen 6. And yet the vehicle is more capable, right? It drives further range, right? It has higher power and it's more reliable than what we have on our Gen 4 vehicle. And so what we found is that by really having customers accompany us and accompanying our customers on this marathon, we work together to find win-win solutions where we can provide more capability, more reliability at a lower cost, right? And even more payload. And so that's a pretty exciting trend that I think is going to continue as these vehicles continue to mature, right? We'll be able to reduce the component count even further, drive even more reliability. So we find that our goal at Motiv isn't to build a great truck or design a great truck or build a great truck or deliver a great truck. It's really to make sure that our trucks are doing work in the field. We measure our performance based on the mileage that our customers drive our trucks. The last thing we want are a bunch of trucks that are delivered and never used. That doesn't do our customers any good, right? And at the end of the day, if our customers aren't getting value, then electrification isn't going to be a success for them or a success for us. And so, out of those over 200 vehicles on the road, more than half exceed 10,000 miles of revenue-generating service. And many of them haven't been in service necessarily that long, but they're being used every day. Right. And what we find is that for electric trucks to be used every single day, three factors come into play. First, the trucks need to be proven. They need to have a total cost of ownership model that works, right? And they need to go, our fleet customers typically go through this pilot phase where they'll pilot some vehicles. And after they see success there and after they have the data from the pilot, then that creates repeat orders. And that's a cycle that we've seen again and again with some of these vehicles shown on this slides. The trucks need to have the capability to do the job. At the end of the day, if the truck lacks the payload or the range, or a driver feels like it's not safe, and maybe that's performance of the vehicle, acceleration. Maybe it has to do with the interface with the driver, or confusion that can be caused, right? If any of that happens, then the truck isn't going to be used. It's going to be parked, right? And there will be a reason, either a legitimate reason or an excuse as to why the truck isn't being used. And at the end of the day, we spend a lot of time with customers that are new to electric to accompany the drivers and the fleet managers, the depot managers and the service technicians on what might be going on if their trucks aren't being used. And sometimes it's a convenience factor. Sometimes the drivers are worried about plugging the truck in if it's raining. There can be all sorts of concerns, and a little bit of training can go a long way. And finally, the trucks have to be reliable, right? If the trucks don't have the uptime, they won't get used, right? Because having a truck go down in the middle of a route is enormously expensive for the fleet and for the driver. And if they think that that's going to happen, they're just not going to use the trucks in our experience. So what we found is our remedy there is first build a very reliable truck, more reliable than their fossil fuel trucks. And then make sure that we've got boots on the ground and support, typically less than 24 hours, to have a support technician there to help figure out what's going on. Did they forget to plug the truck in? Is something wrong with the truck, right? To be there and make sure that we're making that experience a seamless and smooth one, right? Because a lot of this for fleets is change management, and we want to be there to help them. So when you look at Motiv's portfolio of trucks, we've done a variety of medium-duty applications. We have step vans, which is probably our largest application. I think Motiv builds and delivers something like 80% of the electric step vans to the market today. We also do a variety of vehicles that are built on cab chassis, and you can see some people movers there, and also box trucks, refrigerated box trucks, including high voltage refrigeration that we've partnered with Carrier for deployment there, stake bed, utility trucks, dump bed trucks. And then draw your attention to the upper left. Our latest product, the Argo, is actually a little bit larger than those other trucks. It's up to full Class 6, 26,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating, and more than 6 tons, closer to 7 tons of payload in the 150-mile range configuration, and offers a 200-mile range configuration. It's our first 200-mile cab chassis option. We have step vans as well that have that 200-mile range option. We use the same powertrain on all of our products. So it's the same one that I showed you, that Gen 6 powertrain, which is a 400-volt system, which maximizes compatibility with DC fast charging. It minimizes the cost of the system. And Motiv's proprietary motor controls technology enables the full torque needed, same as you would get at a higher voltage system, plus other functions like hill hold and customizable regenerative braking. Last thing about Motiv that I wanted to highlight is our customer support. If we've got vehicles deployed there, we will have customer support there, right? We will have someone that can get there for boots on the ground. And this is for the benefit of our fleets and also for our own benefit. The amount of learning that we've received over the years from our customer support team is invaluable, right? Because they're the ones that actually get to see how the vehicles are being used, what's working and what's not working. Right. And they feed that information back into Motiv's design process as we're thinking about how we design and how we build the trucks. They are equipped with a best-in-class tool set, including remote diagnostics. 80% of our issues are fixed remotely by these service techs. Right. And so a lot of times the reason why they're going to the site isn't to fix an issue. It's just to check in on how the vehicles are doing and kind of, help on the people side, help manage the change. They also are very well connected with data on the vehicle's use. And so we provide our customers with data reporting to show how the vehicles are being used, and maybe help them overcome any challenges or surprises that they see in the data, and then help them build that total cost of ownership model so that they know exactly how much these pilot vehicles are costing them beyond the upfront purchase price, right? And how much money they're saving on fuel and maintenance. So the electric medium duty space has been impacted, and many of you are familiar with the Advanced Clean Fleets regulation that was codified into California law. Those of you based in California, right? But this actually requires fleets to roll over 10% of their California operating fleet to be zero emissions by January 1st, 2025. There are some exemptions there. Many of the exemptions require fleets to have an order placed by the end of 2023, right? So this is a very immediate regulation for fleets, and it impacts quite a large pool of vehicles. We're here to help, right? To help in helping fleets think through their transition strategy to go zero emission and to turn it from something that's purely regulatory driven to help them figure out how they can save cost and make money by going electric. What other revenue benefits they might have going electric. We certainly have had customers who, after moving to electric delivery vehicles, now can deliver during different times of the day, or maybe have one new business because of their electric delivery fleet. And so, we think that there's an opportunity for fleets to approach the upcoming regulations, both ensuring compliance, but also looking for opportunities. And we're here to help facilitate that with fleets, because we know this is a challenge, right? California is requiring some big changes, and I think the state will benefit from it in many ways. But I think working together, we can help fleets find the best pathway through some of these challenges. We've helped our fleet secure over $35 million in funding, right? And incentives in many different states have been used for the purchase of Motiv vehicles. And I think for fleets looking for incentives, now is a great time to do that. Once regulations start kicking in, we tend to see that incentive availability goes down at that point. Um, and independent of the incentives, which oftentimes have many various requirements on the fleet, Motiv was one of the first manufacturers to qualify for the IRA tax credit of $40,000. And when you add on the incremental depreciation of an electric truck, you can wind up, easily saving $75,000, in tax savings by moving to an electric truck. And so this can help offset a lot of the incremental upfront cost of the truck, in addition to the much lower operating costs, of an electric vehicle, where you're running off of electricity instead of a fossil fuel. A much more stable price point on your operating costs and reduced maintenance. So I've talked a little bit about Motiv's marathon, but I think that the maybe the more interesting marathon that is going to happen over the next few years are those of all of our commercial fleets across the country, especially in California, but beyond, that are making this transition. And it really is going to be an interesting marathon, full of opportunities for fleets that do it well, and also full of pitfalls to avoid. And so, to the extent that Motiv can help accompany you on your marathon, we're here. We're here to help. Right. And especially if you're looking for applications where you have 2 to 6 tons of payload requirement on your truck. Right. So, some smaller class 3 options may not quite cut it for those fleets. Right. That's really where Motiv's products excel. Right. And so I think we'd love to talk with you about your application and see if we can help you find a solution. Once you have the truck solution, right, then I think infrastructure is something that must be considered. And the question on infrastructure is dwell time. If you are parking your truck somewhere overnight and it's a knowable place that they go to every night, we can help you get a handle on infrastructure. And while it might seem a little daunting, we've had many depots install 10 to 30 trucks, 50 trucks without even needing help from utilities. Right. And that's, again, based on charge dwell time. If you need to charge your trucks very quickly, it will be much more expensive. And so keep that in mind. And if you need to get utilities involved, the timeline can certainly push out. Right. Once you know the vehicle and the infrastructure, then it's the economic model, the return on investment, how you can find funding, tax credits to help support this. Right. Because at the end of the day, fleets need to be doing economical work. Right. And the final piece that we want to encourage people not to forget about is find the right partners that accompany you beyond the vehicle deployment, right? That have the customer support, the trained expertise, right? The boots on the ground that are going to be there when something doesn't go as planned, because we've been around this industry long enough to know not everything goes as planned, right? And having that help is critical to being successful. So I want to encourage everyone to start their EV marathon today. The regulations are coming. Despite uncertainty that always exists, I think it's more certain than ever that this is a journey that we're going to need to go on, right? And Motiv wants to be there with you to help, so that you can take advantage of our learning to reduce your risk, both through the pilot stage and beyond, right? And help you find those right partners that have experience, that can help you design an effective pilot program, and then get the data you need out of that to go beyond it. So thank you all very much for spending some time with me today. I hope you're enjoying the event. I know I am. And my contact information is here and available. And we really look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.